Sometimes feeling blue, or in this case, being blue, is a good thing. Just ask audiences around the world who flock to see the Blue Man Group.
In fact, it all started right here in New York City 25 years ago this past Thursday. Jamie Wax is here with the story behind the Blue Crew. Jamie, I bet you got a case of the blues.
I got a case of the blues big time, and so does New York this week. You know, this city is the theater capital of America. Shows on and off Broadway come and go all the time, but for 2.5 decades, the Blue Man Group has been a staple at the Astor Place Theater here in Manhattan. And according to the group's founders, these strange blue men tell us a lot about ourselves and our evolving times. 2.5 miles south of New York's Broadway Theater District, there's a show unlike anything else in town. For the last 25 years, 3 men painted in blue have been giving this eye-popping, mind-bending performance using the unlikeliest of props like marshmallows and PVC pipes to wow the crowd. How did you even come up with the idea of creating instruments like this?
Well, we just love the sound of tubes when you hit them. There's actually no overtone. It doesn't sound like a xylophone in that kind of wooden or metal way.
Chris Wink and Phil Stanton are 2 of the 3 founding members of the Blue Man Group.
When we started out, we were really interested in kind of asking through this project, through the character, kind of what's essentially human.
I didn't feel like I had a tribe. I fit in everywhere. But I felt on the inside like I fit in just about as much as a bald and blue guy.
They started as street and club performers in the consumer-driven 1980s. And with the help of co-founder Matt Goldman, a singular character began to develop.
We instinctively wanted Blue Man to be universal. We wanted it to feel like he was not from any particular nation or culture or race or anything.
We didn't know we were creating a show, actually, but what we were really doing was doing what the Marx Brothers did, which is, you know, we were developing pieces that would later become the signature pieces in our show.
At what point does it become viable and something that you realize you're going to be doing for a long time?
Well, it was all kind of a series of accidents. We would do a performance as a guest in someone else's show, and the next thing you know, they asked us to do a full show. We said, well, we don't have that much material, but we'll see what we can do. So at a certain point, we had enough material to go that it was a show, and we said, all right, let's do this.
The idea of a silent trio of blue men performing oddball tricks and satirizing culture confused some at first.
What is it? What is it you do?
As the founders told Charlie Rose back in 1992. Here's Stanton and Wink.
All the great technology that people were coming up with was served the purpose of keeping people in their apartments with their VCRs and their fax machines and everything. So our sensibility is about people getting together and not being isolated.
What it does for us is it allows us to be an outsider in the mundane world. It's a familiar technique, you know, a mermaid, a Martian, a brother from another planet.
The show is constantly evolving to keep up with the times. While the earliest versions tackled the just emerging issue of information overload, it now incorporates giant smart devices, or JIPads, vying for your attention.
We're curious about the phenomenon of a global connection, but yet the kind of the loss of the tribe. We're all about moving forward into the future and into, you know, innovation and all that, but there's a few things from our ancient past that we need to bring with us. And so if you'll notice at our show, there's a vibe kind of in a weird way with all this weird modern stuff happening, but it's probably similar in our minds to being around the campfire in the hunter-gatherer period, you know, in the cave, you know, just playing some drums and just grooving because that's kind of in our DNA.
As its profile grew, the Blue Man Group got bigger. The show would expand to 7 locations around the world, from Las Vegas to Berlin, which meant there needed to be more blue men able to perform. How did you go about casting other blue men?
I don't think we could envision at first that other people can and should play the character.
And it was actually an incredible infusion of energy for us because we stopped talking about there wasn't my version of the Blue Man or Phil's, it was, you know, the Blue Man.
So the Blue Men typically leave their hands by their side.
They now hold tryouts around the world. This was the first audition for a group that we visited back in August.
Okay, Very good.
Andy Talon and Stefan Roux have been training to be Blue Men for 2 months. How does it feel to be coming into this group of performers?
It's pretty special. I mean, it's a long process. It's an 8-week process, sort of a graduate school kind of class in the character and the performance, and it feels like an honor.
Stefan first auditioned 4 years ago in Berlin. Both are now performing in shows. That's Stefan throwing marshmallows.
In the end of the show, you're just thinking, that's my job. That's just like really fun.
We need to find your individual route into this character.
And there's just hours and hours of discussion around the training because it's a subtle thing. If someone is too quirky, too other, or too funny, it doesn't work. But if someone is too dead, it doesn't have any life force, it doesn't have any charisma to it, and it loses its profundity. It's a very sophisticated kind of balancing act that gets to a very simple but very soulful performance. This week, the Empire State Building paid homage to their Blue Empire for a night. But Chris Wink and Phil Stanton hope their experiment will be around for decades more to come. Our test is, what do the 15-year-olds, the 18, the 22-year-olds think when they come see the show? We don't want it to be their parents' show, you know. We want it to be a show that resonates to them.
It's like half of it is timeless and half of it is like a snapshot, you know, and you have to keep taking the picture. But the change that happens, we can all see that in real time. It's almost more interesting to kind of play around with what's going to remain the same, you know, what's essentially human.
We're betting on drumming by a campfire.
Yeah.
That marshmallow throwing is always so much fun to see. Stan and Wink practiced that trick while they were waiters, and they were poor cater waiter artists. The chef got a kick out of the trick and would throw food at them to catch in their mouths. That's the only way they could eat back then. If you want to know more about the origins and evolution of the Blue Man, last month they released a book, Blue Man World, to celebrate the anniversary.
I love this. So in 25 years, how many Blue Men have there been?
Believe it or not, he says there's only about 70 in the group that have ever been. They come back, they go away, they do movies, they do theater projects, they do art projects, and then you come back and you're in the tribe.
What a great job.
Who knew? 25 years. What a concept.
Yeah.
All right, Jamie Wax, thanks so much.
Thank you.